Pets. Power. Talk radio with bites. We're Pet Life Radio, the #1 pet radio network. Let's talk pets.
Okay. And good morning, good afternoon. Welcome. You are here live with Dr. Jeff Werber, your host for the next 30 minutes here on Pet Life Radio's Ask the Vets with Dr. Jeff. We're here for you. We're here for your pets. We're here to answer questions, to talk about anything you want to talk about pets. And but the key here is a live call-in show. Note, live call-in show. We want to hear from you. And you can do it a number of ways. You can give us a call, 877-385-8882. Or better yet, you can join us here live on Google Hangouts. Just go on to PetLifeRadio.com, click on the Ask the Vets with Dr. Jeff tab under shows, and we have a link there for you to join us here live on Pet Life Radio's Ask the Vets with Dr. Jeff. And want to thank, and once again, our new sponsor, Pawfume Premium. You can just find them, www.pawfumepremium.com, Pawfume Premium, Premium.com. And, basically what we're trying to do with Pawfume Premium is bring you veterinary quality product with wonderful scents, wonderful formulations at a price that you can afford. You can get them online. We're very happy to have them on board. I am involved with them. I helped with the formulations, and I've sort of over the years just working around in the pet world as well as the veterinary world, and met up with a number of formulators and companies. And we have some really, really, really good product that I was thrilled to put my name on. So it is Pawfume Premium by Dr. Jeff Werber. And I tell you, it is really, really good stuff. And some of the stuff, interesting, the reason I developed it is some of the things we have nothing really like it on the veterinary market, which just blows my mind because the stuff is so great. And the stuff that they have is really, I would say it's probably as effective. But, one of the things we wanted to do is obviously with the intent to share your homes with your pets, the couch, the bed, etc. We wanted stuff that makes your pet just not only feel good, but also look good and smell good. That's sort of how we got the Pawfume going, because it is so important. One of the key reasons that I see pets that the owners don't want to cuddle with, or they don't want to have them go near them, is because, oh my God, dog face smells so bad. Well, now we can do something about it. So anyway, once again, welcome to Pawfume Premium. And if you have any questions, if you want to see what kind of great lineup we have of product, you can go on to www.pawfumepremium.com. So as I always like to do, we like to kind of peruse the Smart Brief. A couple of cute stories. This one is really interesting. Two zoos, one in Texas and one in the Atlanta Zoo. They had started a program training apes, great apes. We're talking big, strong, great apes, to submit to blood pressure testing, to blood testing, and EKGs, electrocardiograms. And apparently it took a while to get them, but they really tolerated it very well. So now they're starting to share their training program with other zoos across the nation for the very important reason that heart disease is the #1 killer of great apes. That's really sad. And typically because the fear of getting up close and personal and trying to test them on a routine basis without some sort of sedation and anesthesia was very tough. So now with the new techniques that have been developed, these monitoring techniques can be used on a regular basis and hopefully help these amazing animals. This was a wow. They found a dead sperm whale. And when they were doing a postmortem, an autopsy, they found the following: 64 pounds of plastic bags, of nets, of other trash. And really, guys, from a responsibility standpoint, we need to do a better job of protecting our wild animals. And, to have that stuff discarded in such a way from a waste perspective that a whale can end up with 64 pounds, that's half a person. So maybe half a thin person, but it's half a person anyway. So really, it'd be very much, very, very careful. And so another story that I really liked, because as many of you know, I do a lot of rescue work, and I work with two of the rescue groups that I do work with are pretty much specifically for pit bulls. And there are communities out there that have been trying to ban certain breeds, the Rottweiler and maybe Akita, Chow Chow, because of bites and dog bite prevention, thinking that if we keep this breed out of this community, we'll have less bites. Well, guess what? It's not going to work. And fortunately, there are more communities, and even states that have now banned the ban. In other words, they actually are saying that these specific laws that are banning breeds are illegal, which is really good. Because I have to tell you that, well, first of all, with the dogs I see are great. My daughter has 2 pit bulls that are amazing. I mean, of all the dogs in the family, they're probably the friendliest. And I often say this, and it's sort of it's a sad thing to say, but I'll tell you this, that I had done a story years ago on the pit bulls. So I had to do some research, and what I found was very interesting. And back in the day, we're talking back in the United Kingdom in the 1800s, where the fighting of these dogs was, and it's sad to even use this term, but it was a gentlemanly sport. Go figure. Anyway, so in the ring they had, or the pit, they actually had a person who was kind of like a referee. And any dog that showed any signs of aggression towards this person was literally taken outside and shot. The point being that the owners of these dogs would not tolerate any signs of aggression towards a person. So when these dogs get a bad rap, innately, they are not really bad dogs for people. It's the way they're trained, the way they're reared, their early experiences, sometimes very negative, is what causes them to behave the way they do. There are actually more bites that are recorded by Chihuahuas and Cocker Spaniels across the country than pit bulls or Rottweilers. But the thing is, because of those dogs are so big and the bites are often more serious, they're the ones that are getting the attention. So to ban a dog just because it looks like, or it's in the same breed class as some other dog, it's just not fair. So anyway, I'm very glad that most of these rules are being outlawed. But the keys really are adopt. If you'll see, I mean, because of this, there are so many pit bulls out there, and if you see the ones that come into my office are literally heavenly. So don't generalize. Is really what the bottom line is. Hypertension affects us, and yet it also affects our pets. And eye problems, heart problems, kidney disease. These all things, and brain lesions can all be related to hypertension. So very important to, as part of the routine exam, especially if your animals are ADR, ain't doing right, or there's something else going on. One of the tests that should be monitored is blood pressure, because especially if the problem, for example, detached retinas in cats, hypertension. I mean, when I see it, first thing I'm going to do is measure their blood pressure. Kidney problems also often related to hypertension. So just one of these things that's important to know. And if you're having this issue with your pets, please make sure you see a veterinarian. And this is something to have monitored as well. This one, I would love to hear from you on this one. 877-385-8882. Join us live, because this was one that I have certain issues with, and I would just love to hear some input. And that is Nebraska lifted its rules on licensing for pet therapists, massage therapists. Now, typically on the books, it was only veterinarians or certified human massage therapists that took some extra courses in pets. And no one else can do massage therapy. Now that license has been revoked, or the requirement has been revoked, and now anybody can do it. Here's my issue. Now, I totally believe that having only veterinary, I wouldn't even want to do it. I don't have time for that. But I do believe that there's value. So I think that care facilities, rehab facilities, it's very important that others are able to do it. But to not have some sort of regulation, some sort of proof of licensing, some sort of proof of training, that means anybody, same thing with dog trainers. That's my whole issue with dog trainers, is that anybody, you can wake up one morning and say, you know what? I want to be a dog trainer. I'm going to hang a shingle. I'm going to take an ad out. I'm going to start advertising that I'm going to be a dog trainer. But wait, and you don't have to prove anything, nothing, zero, zilch about your training, about your experience, qualifications. So that's my only issue with this. Would love to hear what you think about it. Should anybody be able to do it? Should there be at least some licensing program, some restrictions, some education, some sort of proof, some coursework, something that has shown of completion that at least you are qualified to do pet massage? So anyway, that's kind of something that has been bugging me. I see stuff like that. It worries me because then it opens the doors for other things too. That, oh, well, yeah, I can be a trainer. I can be this. I can be that. I can do pet dentistry. That's going under a lot of fire right now because people are realizing if you don't know what you're doing, as I always say, it's very important to know what you know. It's more important to know what you don't know. But you know what gets you into trouble? What gets everybody into trouble is when you don't know what you don't know, i.e., you think you know it. And when you think you know something, it kind of worries me a little bit. You don't want to think you know it. You need to know that you know it. This is a cute story. A kitten joins the ranks of the police department in Troy, Michigan. What they did was they took a little kitten, and now it's literally part of the police department. And the reason is they want to encourage pet adoption. They took this kitten through a shelter, and they're now trying to encourage pet adoption through the shelter. This kitten goes with the police when they have any kind of marketing or public relations. The goal really is to encourage adoptions, which I think is absolutely responsible, absolutely great. And the kitten is not yet named because they are going to wait until they're doing like a Twitter contest and see what kind of name is going to win on the Twitter contest. And speaking of cute things like this, last night in a Dodger game, Saturday night, they allowed dogs in Dodger Stadium. It was a Pups to the Park event. They took the right field pavilion, opened it up to people with their pets. The tickets were $46 for a person and $40 for your pet. You have to really like your pet to spend $40 to just take them to Dodger Stadium because, of course, dogs know a lot about baseball. So I'm sure they really appreciated being there to watch the game. But they may have had fun and messing with other dogs, and you have to show proof of vaccine and have to be well behaved and all this good stuff. But anyway, that's really cute. The proceeds, of course, were going to a shelter. And so I thought that was really, really a clever way to raise awareness and to make it fun. And who doesn't want to go to a baseball game when you get to have your pet with you? Go anywhere. Wouldn't that be great? You take your pets to work, take them to the restaurant. Why not take them to the ball game? And this from the American Kennel Club, it caught my eye only because it was about Frenchies, and I have two, and my son has one, and I see, oh God, I over 300 French Bulldogs in my practice. So I see a lot of Frenchies. And anyway, they are now, good, bad, it's no surprise, they are now the fourth most popular dog in the American Kennel Club. Number one, still Labrador Retriever. You got German Shepherds, number two, Golden Retrievers, number three, and now French Bulldogs, number four. And you cannot, it's unlikely you're going to pick up an ad anywhere that shows pets and not see a Frenchie. They have just won everybody's heart for good reason. They are just so much fun, amazing dogs. I have three in the house now. We're dog sitting my sons, and it's really a great breed. My problem with it is, and this is what we're seeing also, is because they become so popular and because people are somewhat fickle when it comes to their pets. Do you realize there are rescue groups that now have more and more pure breed French Bulldogs? So if you are thinking about a Frenchie, and trust me, if you want, I can't argue against it because they're fantastic. But don't go to a breeder and all that stuff. There are so many rescues out there now that have pure breed Frenchies. I see a number of them in my practice. They are great dogs, and you never know really why somebody gives their dog up when they do, or what the problems were. So I don't judge, but they're popular. That's good news, but they're also bad news because they're so popular. We are seeing more and more unwanted ones, and that's a problem. We see the same thing when movies glorifying certain breeds. I remember, we would cringe every time another version of 101 Dalmatians would come out. Why? Because, look, in the movie, they're fantastic. And so people would go out and get them. And then later on, they realize, I can't do this dog thing. So then we see more and more of them at the shelter. So I think, I fear that that's going to happen as well to Frenchies. And we already are seeing more than we should in shelters, but no, they're there. Anyway, halfway through the show, when we come back, we are going to talk about something I really wasn't going to talk about it, but I have had 2 or 3 cases in the last several weeks that I'm realizing, you know what, this is more serious than I thought. And the issue really is basically a problem with dogs and cats that have issues urinating. And the reason I say this, we've had both a dog and a cat in the last several weeks with ruptured bladders, which in a cat was deadly. It often is. And in a dog, fortunately not. But you realize, oh my God, if you as pet parents don't start recognizing issues with your pet's habits like this, it could be disastrous. So don't go away. When we come back, we're going to talk about this. And you'll join me in the second half. And if you want to give us a call, give us your experience to share anything we talked about so far this morning, 877-385-8882, or join us here on Google Hangouts. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back, right after these messages. Stay tuned.
Molly, here's your dinner. Please, that's not your food.
Don't let that happen to your precious cat. Elevate your cat's eating experience with the Cat Tree Tray. The Cat Tree Tray keeps your cat's food off the floor and conveniently located on the cat tree. It's the perfect way to eat. It's a beautiful wrought iron tray that easily attaches to your cat tree and keeps dogs and other critters out of your cat's dish. A must for multi-pet households. There's a 6-inch tray for large bowls and a 4-inch tray for smaller bowls. Purchase your Cat Tree Tray today. Go right now to cattreetray.com. That's cattreetray.com. CATTREETRAY.com.
It's designerpetsweaters.com. Hand-knitted designer sweaters for your precious pup or cool cat. Beautiful couture patterns for your pets, including custom-knitted formal wear, casual wear, yachting, and even sports-themed. Many designer pet sweaters include feathered tammy hats, top hats, and a lot of sparkle. Each sweater includes leg loops, front paw sleeves, and leash opening. Visit designerpetsweaters.com to order your 4-legged fashions today. Large or small, we fit them all. designerpetsweaters.com.
Calling all pet product manufacturers. Save the date and join us for the 6th annual Retails and Sales Pet Expo coming up on Tuesday, May 1st, 2018 in New York City. The event is a place for pet product manufacturers to meet with buyers and media and groomers and pet influencers. To learn more about this B2B pet product trade show, please visit retailsandsalespetexpo.com. This event is brought to you by Whitegate PR, American Pet Professionals, and Pet Age Magazine.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dinovite for help. Order a 90-day supply of Dinovite. Pick up 2 bottles of Lico Chops, get the 3rd bottle free. New improved Lico Chops with omega-6, omega-3, vitamin E, and now 6 extra direct-fed microbials. Even better for the digestive tract and immune system, and dogs love it. Try Lico Chops. Buy 2, get 1 free. This is Henry Lukasevic for Dinovite.
DINOVITE.com.
Hey, cat people. Litter box smells always on your mind? Think about your cat, not the box, with World's Best Cat Litter, the litter that delivers big odor control in a tiny package. World's Best Cat Litter harnesses the concentrated power of corn to trap odors deep inside the litter. Ready to knock out smells and use less litter? Find World's Best Cat Litter at Target, Walmart, and in your local grocery and pet stores.
Begging to hear more of your favorite show? Full episodes of all our shows are available on demand. Go to PetLifeRadio.com to fetch our entire lineup of Possum Pet podcasts. Also, pick us up in iHeartRadio and iTunes. Let's Talk Pets. Live and on demand only from Pet Life Radio. Let's Talk Pets.
Let's Talk Pets.
On Pet Life Radio.
PetLife Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
Okay.
And welcome back. You're here live again. So once again, I'd like to hear from you if you've had this experience. It's a really, really common problem, and that is urinary issues. And we call it stranguria. We're not strange, but straining to urinate. So, and it's very, very common. So the typical classic symptoms are going to be a cat who goes to the litter box multiple times, sits there, squats, but if you look, they don't leave that little puddle. And they get frustrated. They will go out. They go back in the litter box. They try it again. You're going to see it more likely in a male than a female. And it is concerning. In a dog, same thing. They're going to go to the tree, lift a leg or squat, male, female, depending. And again, it doesn't seem like anything comes out. And they start becoming more and more uncomfortable with more repeated attempts, but the attempts fail. They don't do anything. So when we have that, it can be due to a number of reasons. Number one would just be a urinary tract infection. We call it UTI. And what happens is with the infection, the bladder will get thickened and loses some of its elasticity. So when the bladder fills up, even with a small amount of urine, it puts pressure against the wall of this thickened bladder, which has lost its elasticity. And therefore, the pressure sensors in this bladder send a signal to the brain that you got a big bladder and you got to go. The problem is the bladder's not very big. It's just that it's very thickened. So these animals, you'll see multiple repeated attempts, and they urinate much more frequently, but much less urine is held, and sometimes no urine comes out. You also have something called sterile cystitis, and that is the similar idea with the bladder wall gets very thickened. And so these animals think they have to go. They think their bladder is very full, but when they go, a couple of dribbles. And so for these, they would definitely require medical attention and urinalysis. Typically, we often like to catch urine, what we call cystocentesis. We collect either with good palpation or we use the ultrasound probe. And the reason for that is that in animals, the urethra, which is the tube going from the bladder out to the outside, look, let's face it, they don't have the same hygiene habits that we do, and clearly they're not as clean. So when in animals, we catch urine by what we call free catch, which is where we have them urinate into like a container, we may see more bacteria, but the question is going to be, was this normal bacteria for the urethra, or was it coming from the bladder? And you don't know. Some people say, well, if it's above a certain point, we're expecting X amount of normal bacteria. So if it's more than this number, then chances are it came from the bladder. There's a really good way to eliminate that, and that's called cystocentesis, where we collect the urine directly from the bladder. And by doing so, especially using ultrasound, the reason I like that better is that we can also evaluate the bladder itself. Okay, you can see the wall thickness. You can see if there's sludge in there. You can see if there's stones. And some stones, by the way, are we call radiolucent. That means they're clear on X-ray, so you won't see them on an X-ray. The radio opaque stones, those are the ones you will see on X-ray, which brings me to the next point, and that is X-ray. And when we have everything is looking negative, then clearly another problem is the bladder stone. So I did just this week alone, we had 3 cystotomies, and one was a multiple little stones. One was in a little puppy, a rescue pup that had some kind of terrier mix, terrier poo, that had a stone that was like the size, it took up the whole bladder. And when we first noticed that this puppy had a stone, when it was very young, we thought, oh my God, sometimes there are some metabolic conditions that seem to induce stone formation, and maybe this dog has it. So we're going to do a stone analysis to see what it is, but it's something, and certain breeds have certain stones that are notorious. For example, Dalmatians, we talked about earlier in the show, Dalmatians will develop urate stones, urate calculi, and that's very much diet related. need special preventive medicines because of the way these stones are formed. And they often will be repetitive. So sometimes these dogs without the medication called allopurinol, they might develop stones again and again. But here's where it gets tricky, and very, very potentially dangerous. And that is if these go unrecognized, especially in a male, because in a female, the aperture, the opening of the urethra at the vaginal canal is usually large enough to certainly pass small stones. But when these stones get into the very narrow urethra of the male, they can actually lodge. Or when they get too big in the bladder, they can't even make it out the trigone into the urethra. They block up the works. And when these animals can't urinate, clearly what's going to happen, it's no magic. You have kidneys working, continually bringing the urine into the bladder through the ureters, and the dogs cannot eliminate, the cats cannot eliminate, and all of a sudden this bladder is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And if it is not addressed, and if it's not picked up, these bladders will burst. Cat bladders, because cat urine is much more concentrated, really can be deadly. And another way this happens, we just had a kitten, 8 months old, very sad, was hit by a car. Because the bladder was full at the time, it's like taking a water balloon that doesn't even have to be that full, but take a water balloon and throw it on the ground. With that impact, what's going to happen? It's going to burst. Well, that's what happened to this poor cat. And it happened in such an area of the bladder at the trigone that it could not be repaired. It was really, really sad. And by the time the lady brought this cat in, it was such a sad situation. 2 cats, kittens, breed litter mates. They were outdoor cats. It was like not the right owner scenario. Anyway, the cat was already extremely sick because of the urine floating in the abdomen. And this kitty, we ended up having to put to sleep on the table. Now, dog, I get a call from a friend. They were out of town. They had the dog with a dog sitter who was only coming in a couple of times a day to walk the dogs. So she did not notice that this dog was literally struggling to urinate. Did not notice that this dog's belly was getting bigger. And so what finally happened was she saw the dog for about a day and a half, stopped eating, and took it to her own veterinarian. And then that veterinarian, feeling that this was really bad, they called the owner who was out of town. The owner said, you got to talk to me because I'm the regular vet. And I said, what you need to do is get it to this emergency facility because it needed around-the-clock care. It was very sick. P.S. What they did was when they did their workup, sure enough, they realized they saw on an x-ray, they saw no bladder on x-ray, no bladder on ultrasound, but they did see a stone stuck, lodged in the urethra, all right, at the level of the outflow, right by the penis area. And guess what? This poor dog went days without being able to urinate. The owners were out of town, so nobody noticed. The pet sitter did not notice because she was only there a couple of times a day. I don't know how she didn't see on a walk that the dog was lifting its leg and nothing was happening. I don't know how they didn't see that the belly was probably getting big. The dog was getting more and more uncomfortable. Bottom line, ruptured bladder. And then because, again, it was a while before they got to the diagnosis. So the dog was very, very sick. And all said and done, if you're sitting down, $17,000 later, let me repeat, $17,000 later, the dog is back home, no more urinary catheter in place, eating, still a little sluggish, but is doing okay. I just talked to the owners last night. So it's one of those things that you please, please, please notice that this is a very important area. And, people always notice when my dog has diarrhea, my dog's vomiting, that's the gastrointestinal tract. Well, guess what? The urinary tract is in many ways just as important and a great telltale to how pets are doing. If they're drinking too much water and peeing a lot, that's a concern. You got to think Cushing's, you got to think diabetes. All right. If they are not drinking and the urine is very, very, very concentrated, that's something to be aware about. If the urine is they're drinking and the urine is very dilute, all right, maybe we're having a kidney problem going on. So there are many, many clues that one needs to recognize about their pets and their elimination habits, period. And it could be a lifesaver. As it was with the dog, sadly, it didn't work with the cat. And you got to jump on these things. Don't keep on waiting and waiting. Bring your pets in. Have your veterinarians evaluate the bladder status, the kidney status, bloods, X-rays, urinalysis, ultrasound. There are so many ways that we can monitor these cases, so many ways that we can make a diagnosis and help your pets. So anyway, thanks for joining me today here on Pet Life Radio's Ask Us Dr. Jeff. Also, thank you to our sponsor, PawFumePremium.com. Check it out. Great stuff. If you have any questions about those products, you can get a hold of me. You can get a hold of them at www.pawfumepremium.com. But we're talking phenomenal products, veterinary quality, and yet available to you online at prices that you can afford. We will see you next week right here on Ask the Vets with Dr. Jeff. Have a terrific week, everybody. And if you have any questions, send them in to me at Dr. Jeff at PetLifeRadio.com, where you can talk about them on the air. And we'd love you to just join us here live. I think it's very helpful. I guarantee any question, any concern that you have about your pet, there is someone else out there listening right now that has the same problem, same concern. So why not help educate other pet owners and pet lovers out there as well, and let them just hang on for the ride. Have a good week. We'll see you here next week. Bye-bye.